Hello and howdy ho everyone! Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Full Story Playthrough. In the last episode, we finished up the Shadowbringers main story quest, at least the initial part of it. We are now into the post-Shadowbringers content. And we're going to start off by speaking with this rather familiar gentleman. Now, who is that? Why, it's our old friend, Genlins. Yes, the level 80 job quest for Paladin. We're going to go ahead and take care of that right now. Ah, if it isn't Foxy. How fare you, my friend? Still keeping up on your training, I trust? The Sultan Sworn have not been idle either. Seeking ways to better serve our nation, we have joined hands with the Gladiators Guild. We train with one another, helping to hone each other's sword arms. The guild even dispatches its members to assist in guarding the palace. None of this would have been possible without First Sword Mila's cooperation. She's a dedicated woman, dedicated to her art and to her own, and I have the utmost respect and admiration for her. So it was with deep concern that I noticed that something troubles her of late. Whereas before she was amiable, she has become given to brooding silences. I considered offering to lend an ear, but as a relatively new acquaintance, I did not wish to appear overly familiar. But you, Foxy, you are her close friend. Will you not seek her out and inquire after the source of her consternation? Well, it has been a while since we've seen the first sword, but I think we're still quite familiar with her. Maybe we'll be able to help. Colosseum. I haven't been here in, 10 levels or so. God, not since Stormblood. Oh, it's you, Foxy. It's been a while. What brings you here today? Is everything alright? What's this all of a sudden? Of course I'm... Nay, I won't insult your intelligence by lying to you. You see, it's Aldous. He's returned to Ul'dah. He's been pardoned, so he has every right to be here. But it's just... I don't understand what's going through his mind. Oh, if it isn't the very woman I've been longing to see. Speak of the devil. I'll bet you it's Aldous. Aldous, why are you a samurai? Greetings, Foxy. You look well for someone who's been raising hells the world over. I see my attire intrigues you. When I took my leave after the Old Cup, I believe I said something to the effect of still having much to learn. That's what I've been doing. Learning. I remembered hearing tell of the fearsome swordsmen of the Far East, and so I decided to journey there and train in their style. You never cared for convention or tradition. Is it any wonder we're confused to see you actually look the part? I suppose you're right, but you have to admit, Mila, I look pretty good in this. So, Foxy, how about you and I have a bout, for old time's sake? Gladly. We're one of a kind, you and I. When we see a mighty foe, we can't resist the urge to test ourselves. Now, as much as I fancy a rematch in the Colosseum, we'll have to settle for a humbler venue this time. Let's see. How about the Scorpion Crossing outside the gate of the Sultana? There's space there, if not a lot of people, to watch our glorious match. Oh, don't even think about fighting in the city. If you must feed your vanity, I'll attend as witness. At the very least, I can explain the situation to the brass blades should they appear. Thanks, I appreciate it. And there you have it, Foxy. I'll see you at Scorpion Crossing. Oh, Mila, don't act like you didn't expect this. I can't believe this. Go on ahead, Foxy, I'll follow in a moment. You know what it's like. Let's see, outside the gate of the Sultana? I guess. Yeah, gate of the Sultana. Okay. It's just, it's a gladiator thing, you know? Or, you know... In Aldous' case, a samurai thing. It's kind of funny, because you get the samurai job class to start it in the Colosseum itself. Or you get it in Ul'dah, but you fight the guy in the fucking Colosseum. So... Just a little tidbit. I hope he's satisfied. Kind of fitting that we're out here in the rain. It's a little bit more dramatic. I've been looking forward to this. Come, my friend, let's begin. Wow. He actually does look the part. I am literally glowing. Impossible. How? How did you become so strong? I found something I couldn't bear to lose. You journeyed to another world and found something you couldn't bear to lose? Aldous, what's the meaning of this? There's no point. As I am, I don't stand a chance against Foxy. You would admit defeat before you even fought? It's unseemly, aye, but because of my training, I've come to know Mila. Come to know the power of resolve and the difference it makes. Forgive me, I need a moment alone. Wow. Holy shit, is this the same Aldous? This isn't the Aldous I know. He's never once backed down from a fight. Maybe he's grown up a little. I don't doubt that you've grown stronger since we last met. But so has Aldous. That's why he challenged you, to put his training to the proof. Yet, by that selfsame training, he could see that he was no match for you. I don't know what to say. Well, there's no use pondering things here. Let's return to the guild. Poor Aldous. He's demoralized. That's not what I wanted to do to him. Jeez. Aldous hasn't returned. I wouldn't be surprised if he's left Ul'dah again. It wouldn't be the first time he's disappeared as quickly as he's arrived. Don't blame yourself. The problem is Aldous is alone. It's up to him to resolve it, however long that may take. At any rate, don't feel compelled to linger on his account. I'm sure you have much demands on your time. Come and visit again when you have the chance. Sorry for taking off like that. Truth be told, I'm ashamed to show my face, but there's something I needed to tell you. After you left, I thought long and hard on your words, on that which you said made you strong. It led me to ask myself, what is it that I wish to protect? And you found the answer? Aye, I did. Fool that I am, it took me a long time, but I finally realized that it was always close by. Aldous. Mila, this is embarrassing for me to say, but that which is dearest to me that I cannot bear to lose is the Gladiators Guild. Oh. You tactless fool. What? The old guildmaster, he was as a father to me, and this place is as a home. No matter where my path may lead, the guild will always welcome me with open arms. I realize that now. Aldous, you... So if I'm to protect the guild, it means, well, you know. It means I have to be at the guild. So from today, I'm giving up the itinerant life. After all these years, coming and going as you please, sending nary a word, you still think you can just stay here? You've got a lot of nerve. Why, Mila, if I didn't know better, I'd say you were worried about me. Shut your mouth! If you wish to stay, then do as you like. That's what you're good at. Ah, there's the grimace I know and love. There truly is no place like home. Completely tactless. But just aside, Foxy, because of you, I've finally realized what's important to me. For that, I give you my thanks. From here on, I'll watch over the guild while I continue honing my skills. Who knows, if I work hard, I might even become the first sword one day. Not on your life! No one would entrust the guild to a selfish bastard such as you. And skills or no, you're starting from the bottom like the rest. Aye, aye, whatever you say. It was good seeing you, my friend. Do come and visit again. From now on, you know where to find me. And that's really the end of it, I believe. Yeah, there are no more quests on my map here. It's not a very long quest, but it does kind of tie things up a little. Foxy, always a pleasure. Whenever you visit, our members train that little bit harder. Funny that. How fare you of late? Since Aldous decided to stay, we've had more folk come knocking on the door. They aspire to be like the Sword of Untold, and like your good self, of course. Only time will tell who will go the distance, but you may be certain that I will push them for all they're worth. I couldn't do any less, what with the bar being raised so high, right, Foxy? Well, that's great. Alright, so now that we've done that, we are going to do some main story quests. I am going to take these kind of patch by patch, so these videos may run on a little bit long, or I may decide to chop some of them up into 2 different parts. It really depends on how long we go. I did say that we might do some other content in this episode, and that wound up not being entirely true. Because of the way the raids and everything are kind of staggered due to this as of the date of recording anyway, being current content, right now, because it's kind of harder, I should say, to get the relevant tomestones, it's also harder to get the relevant gear. As you can see, I still have mostly just the weathered gear. I do have some better gear, like some Crystarium gear, some Crypt Lurker gear, which is the tombstone gear for the end of Shadowbringers. However, my item level is currently 453. I could do the first tier of the new raid but only the first tier, at least right now. So it is going to take me about a week. Perhaps in the next episode we'll do the first tier. I'm just kind of taking things in stride. I'm going as I'm able, basically. That's what I'm trying and failing to say. There are some things that I'm going to just devote entire videos to. Other things, it'll be kind of interspersed with the main story. We're just gonna do it as best as we can. So, anyway, Tataru. Foxy! God, it's good to see you. I hope your being here means you've had your fill of rest. More than my fill, or not so much as 40 winks, truth be told. Nah, Foxy's had a little bit of rest. Well, you've certainly earned it. Not much has happened since your last visit. I had planned for you to meet that helper I told you about, but he refuses to answer his link pearl. I do hope he's alright. It's hard to tell, considering, you know, it's Estinian. We've been exchanging messages with the Eorzean Alliance throughout, though. They say the fighting has finally stopped at the Gimlet Dark and that the Empire shown no sign of movement. Which means we might actually have a moment to ourselves for a change. Seeing as you're back, maybe you could tell me more about your time in the First. I'd love to. Great! Oh, and if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Flamine to join us. She'll want to know what happened to Minfilia, and I think it's best she hears it from you. Flamine. Yeah. We'll meet you on the terrace at the House of Splendors. We'll be waiting for you at the House of Splendors, and I expect you to tell us absolutely everything about your time in the First. Does anybody else have anything new to say, Elion? Not that I expected any less, but 'tis good to see you home and unharmed. I am pleased to report that Arenvald and his fellow primal hunters have upheld the peace while you've been away. Hey, that's great. A pleasure to see you, Foxy. I cannot well imagine what sort of world the First is, or adventures you had, but that you've returned to us safe and sound is of great comfort. It's good to see Arenvald coming into his own. Our war subterfuge is moving along well enough, but we often find ourselves wanting for Thancred and Alphinaud's expertise. Wish they'd hurry up and get their asses back over here. We're working on it, Riol. Hold the fort until then. Welcome back, Foxy. How did the Archons fare over in the First? When next you see them, you may inform them that their bodies are as well as can be. Right, we can't go in and see them right now. We don't have access to Dawn's Respite. But, well, I'm sure we'll see them again soon. So, let's head over to the House of Splendors and join Tataru and Flamine. Where the fuck go? Fuck stairs. I can fly. Foxy, my, it has been too long. Tataru did mention that I would be joining you, did she not? Yes, she did. Thank you. Words cannot express how I've longed to know more of the First. This world of Minfilia has sacrificed so much to save. But come, rest your feet. Tataru should be arriving shortly. I wish I had better news for you, Lamine. And so Minfilia chose to pass on her gifts to the next oracle? This girl who Thancred named Reen? To have such a burden thrust upon her as a child, only to embrace it when given the choice. In that respect, they are quite alike. It would seem her legacy is indeed in capable hands. Foxy, might I ask a favor of you when next you return to the First? To tell Reen what I cannot. To tell her thank you. And I would offer thanks to you as well, for staying with her to the end. Begging your pardon, could I have a word? Riol. Riol? I hope you're here to tell me you've received word from our helper. I wish. Nay, I've had not a peep out of him, and it's been a good long while, too. Too bloody long. On account of which, I'm going to sneak over the border and see if I can't get a signal to him from closer up. But what if they catch you? There must be another way. Well, it ain't as if we can ask Thancred to do it. Besides, I shouldn't have no trouble picking my way through Gimlet now that the fighting's died down. Gods know there's enough shadows to hide in. And it beats waiting around here twiddling me thumbs. Any road, I just thought I'd let you know. Now, I'd best be... Ah! I nearly forgot. Kryle's at the stones, and she wants a word. Something to do with the patients. She was getting ready to examine them again when I left. We'd best head back then. I'm sure it's important. Oh, Flamine. You needn't worry about me. Go and see what Kryle has to say. I mean, I know it's been some time since Vinfilia left us, but I'm sure you're still hurting. It seems she's still examining them. Oh, I do hope it's nothing bad.
You're here. Good.
So, how are they?
Still locked in slumber, but otherwise in good physical health. For the present, at least.
For the present? Oh no, is something wrong with them?
I'm afraid there may be. I summoned you after detecting faint signs of instability in Thancred's corporeal ether. But subsequent examination suggested all 5 might be affected. And when I examined them just now, my fears were confirmed. Tellingly, the degree of instability varies between them. Thancred exhibits the most notable signs, followed by Y'shtola and Urianger. The twins' ether, meanwhile, remains relatively stable, but there is a change there too if one knows to look for it.
And that's the order they all disappeared to the first.
Hold on. Isn't that the order they were called away in?
Indeed. Which leads me to believe the instability will only increase with time. Though I can but speculate, I fear this may be a symptom of a weakening link between body and soul.
By the gods! What happens if the link is broken?
I cannot say for certain. This is all unknown territory to us. Yet whatever happens, it cannot be good. Mercifully, the instability is still only slight. And you may rest assured Master Matoya and I will do everything in our power to keep it from worsening. Be that as it may, it is imperative that you find a way to restore our friends' souls to their bodies.
Leave it to me.
Thank you.
But where's she even supposed to start? We had the greatest minds in the realm hunting high and low for an answer, and they ran out of places to look.
You stated in your report that the Exarch had originally intended to reverse the summoning process by means of his own death, correct? Raha always was a reckless young fool, ready to die for the first righteous cause that came along.
She knew him. That's cute.
His plan might well have worked, but I, for one, am glad he never had the opportunity to see it through. Even if it does mean our friends must remain stranded a while longer.
Yeah, we don't want our cat husband sacrificing himself.
There is another way, I am sure of it. And the key lies with him, with the Exarch. prey return to the First and apprise him and the others of the situation. We, meanwhile, will do what we can from here. And, if the fates are kind, we will have good news to share upon your return.
Take care over in the First, Foxy. We're counting on you and the Crystal Exarch to bring our friends home. Don't you worry, Master Matoya and I will think of something. I have no doubt that you will. Alright, friends. I'll see you soon. Back to the Crystarium we go. So I just realized, the quest that I told you is available after you do all of the role quests is available to us now. So before we continue with the main story, I'm actually going to run this quest because I know generally how it goes, and it's incredibly interesting. So, we need to speak with Glynard and do the quest, Shadow Walk With Me. Well, if it isn't the great hunter herself! As if you don't know, all 4 of the cardinal virtues laid low, all with your help. You're the talk of the stairs, Foxy. When the night returned to Lakeland, we knew in our hearts that change was on the horizon, but never did I dare hope that you might help rid us of those terrible fiends. You surpassed my wildest expectations. Aw, that's a cute pose. Not mine, Glynard. When I first laid eyes on her, I had an inkling that she was the hero we'd been waiting to come all along. Ha! Easy to claim after the fact. If you'd indulge me, though, I would love to hear how it all played out. The hunting of the virtues, that is. Well, it's a long story, but I'd love to tell it. I mean, there were 4 of them after all. My word, there's so much more to it than I realized. And here I thought you'd only had to track down the bloody things. Gods, though, the things you learned about the Warriors of Light. So many secrets and details lost over time. And for all their hard work and sacrifice, they somehow brought about the Flood? Can't say I understand it all, but it's a bloody tragedy it is. We should gather the others and toast their memories. Heroes of Eld, brave and true, to be remembered forevermore. Now, I'll thank you not to let your bleeding heart drive you to offer up a fortnight's stock of spirits. Attend to your other customers and let me speak with the hero of the here and now. Whatever would I do without your good sense and wisdom? Very well, I'll leave you to entertain her, but don't think we won't be having that drink someday. There's still work to do. Drinking can come later. Foxy, I must thank you for sharing with us such incredible tales. 'Tis only right that I repay you in kind. With the ending, that is. With the story of the true villain who towers above the virtues, the devil more deserving of death than any that yet lingers in this world. If your curiosity has been piqued, then meet with me atop the balcony overlooking the crystalline mean. I'll be waiting there until you do. Oh. Now what does this simple barmaid, this strangely familiar-looking barmaid, have to tell us about a true villain? Let's go find out. You came, as I knew you would. Never met a mystery you could leave well alone. Or a demon that you could let live, am I right? And this demon is undeniably deserving of death, make no mistake. To cut them down would be just and proper, the act of a goodly person, and that is just what you are. I can see that. No need to grow impatient or be offended, my friend. But before you pass judgment on this villain, you need first understand their part in everything. Who they were to the fallen warriors of light, for instance. Of course, right about now you must be wondering how I know what I know. What a tavern wench of all people has got to do with any of this? Let me tell you then. I am the one who brought together the virtue hunters. I am the one who marked you as a potential ally to them and bade you join them in their quests. I alone knew what had to be done, and what sort of sinner would be needed to see this tale of tragedy and betrayal brought to an end. But come, we have many malms ahead of us still, to Kalusia and the Codger's Crook. I'll go on ahead and wait for you there. Now why would this simple barmaid do such a thing? There's more to this woman than meets the eye. Oh yeah, by the way, I have elected to start using the Dark Lanner while out here, doing Shadowbringer stuff. Being that I am the Warrior of Darkness, I think it's only fitting. I got this from the Moogle Treasure Trove event, which basically you just buy it with Moogle tomestones. I think it's quite fitting though, and it's a pretty little bird, isn't it? You're accustomed to life on the road, I see. As am I. Do you recognize this place? I thought you might. Here is where it all began, where Ardbert first met Lamit. Still young and lacking in experience, but possessed of so much potential. Heroes in the making. Even then, the keen-eyed could see. They would only fulfill that promise much later, though, after joining with their other dear companions, Brandon and Renderay. And one other, an elven woman, not half bad with a sword. Ah, but perhaps you're already asking the question, who? There were 5 warriors of light in all, but she would make 6. Indeed, after adding in Nielbert, there does seem to be one too many. But believe me when I say there was indeed a 6th adventurer lost to history, and her name was Silva. Though I doubt I need to convince you of this truth. When you walked in the Virtue's memories, you saw her time and time again, did you not? And how do you know this? Then you saw the true villain, the traitor responsible for all their woes. Let us continue the story elsewhere, to Amarang and the Fields of Amber. Maybe Foxy told them how she can see into their memories. I guess she probably would, considering if she told them, oh yeah, they were actually good guys, they'd probably ask, well, how the fuck do you know that? So, maybe I'm overthinking things. You saw the true villain's face in their memories, and I told you her name in Kalusia. But what were her crimes, you ask? Hearken to my tale and you will learn. Silva had joined the others before they first met Nielbert. After their party of 5 came to this place, they took on a commission to slay a powerful beast that had taken up residence in the mines. A story that we saw. Said beast was believed to be the instigator of ever more terrible tremors, and so time was of the essence. But during their hurried search, they crossed paths with their future companion, then a competitor aiming to usurp their prize. After another tremor triggered by the beast trapped them all underground, they had no choice but to work together to lay it low. But to their dismay, even after its death, the earth continued to shudder violently. As the adventurers looked to each other in confusion, Nielbert strode toward the beast's body and grabbed hold of a curious stone, a stone brimming with untold ether, that he had sought out that he might harness its potential to rescue a loved one lost to the rift. But so powerful was the stone that it warped the flow of the life stream. Its very existence was a threat, and so when faced with the choice between one life and countless others, Nielbert wept and shattered the stone. He had held his comrade's salvation in his hand and cast it aside for the greater good. For his sacrifice he was judged a hero, and in that instant a warrior of light was born. In life, Nialbert was a pragmatic figure whose wisdom and sagacity were admired by all. Little wonder that in death he would retain his virtue. But as Nialbert mourned the friend he forever lost, the betrayer Silva looked on in silent contentment, for they had taken the first step on their path towards becoming heroes brave and true. His sacrifice had sparked the transformation. 'Twas fuel for the ritual to come. What ritual, you may wonder? Fear not. All will become clear in time. Come with me to Raktika, to the City of Swamps. We must retrace the steps as they were taken to understand the depth of her treachery. We're just going on a tour of the first at this point. I dare say this may take up this entire episode, which would actually work out quite well. This place too is familiar to you now, from days recent and long since past. After the events at Amarang, Ardbert and his comrades grew in fame, spurring others to entreat their aid. The adventurers sought out greater and greater challenges, and in pursuit of another, they came to Raktika. While here, the hunter Renda Ray learned that the notorious mark Balan Keats was near, and so under cover of darkness she slipped away from the others to slay the beast herself. Like Nialbert before, of course, you already know what her motive was. Balan Keats had robbed her of her fellow hunters. Only vengeance could redress the balance. Moreover, she would not dare risk the lives of her new comrades, so terrified was she of the mere possibility that she might have to relive that terrible day. And so she faced Balan Keats alone, and would have surely died for it, had Ardbert and the others not arrived in time to help. Like Nialbert before, of course, you already know what happened next. For her love, her conviction, and her resolve was she chosen by Hydaelyn. And from that day forward, Renda Ray swore never again to betray her comrades' trust, to share with them the triumphs and the tragedies, to relinquish the freedom she once held in the highest. The bravest, most courageous hunter that ever was, that moment would define what she became in life and in death. Her sacrifice would hasten the transformation. 'Twas fuel for the ritual to come. The betrayer Silva looked on, yet more satisfied. They were oblivious to her machinations, unaware that they were dancing to her tune. Their journeys continued, and so must ours, to Ilmeg and Liagia. Here we go. Ooh, look at the sky. Thunderstorms, yes, but I've never seen the sky look like this before, anywhere. Must be charged with Fey energy. Doesn't that palace look beautiful at night? I wonder how our delightful Feoul is faring. As beautiful now as it was then. You saw it too, would you not agree? With the death of Balam Keats, the legend of Ardbert and his comrades had grown larger than ever. Thus emboldened, they came to the kingdom of Vobert. Vobert had long been troubled by what some had dubbed a magical plague. Innocents found transformed into misshapen fiends that the kingdom's knights had no choice but to put down ere the contagion spread. The first of the virtues we slew. Brandon had been one such knight. In his youth he had served the Princess Saldia faithfully, only to be cast out for a single mistake. Thus did he take to the road, where he met Ardbert and the others. Having grown stronger and wiser and more respected, Brandon felt it was time to return and redeem himself, and with the aid of his comrades he did just that. Tadric, the court mage, was unmasked as the mastermind of Vobert's misery, and by disgraced knight's blade was he brought to justice. But with his dying breath, Tadric cursed the Princess Saldia, sentencing her to a fate worse than death. At her behest did he raise up his blade, and for the sake of the kingdom strike down his liege lady. With that single stroke he forever changed, though nearly not in the way that was necessary. He stood at the precipice and almost forsook his compassion for unflinching judgment, but mercifully turned aside at the last. Thus did he find and embrace true justice, that which weighs law and heart together and strives for the greater good. 'Tis a long, difficult road from which many stray, settling for simpler moralities, but I would expect no less from the man who became Dicaiosine. His sacrifice would strengthen the transformation. 'Twas fuel for the ritual to come. As her companions grew ever more powerful, so too did the betrayer Silva. Bit by bit, they brought her closer to her goal. But it was not yet finished. To Kalusia they returned, and so must we. Tomra and the next chapter of our tale await. Lamit, of course. Back to Kalusia, in the village of Tomra. Slowly but surely the adventurers were fulfilling their potential. Word of their deeds in Vobert spread like wildfire, and their legend grew ever larger. But for all their success, the fledgling heroes would be forced to endure more hardship and welcome more sacrifice. They pressed deeper into the depths of Raktika, towards ancient Ronka. 'Twas there that the dwarf Lamit came to a crossroads, for in claiming the magic she desperately desired, she would be forced to renounce something equally precious. Dwarves are a reclusive lot, wont to withdraw from the outside world that their many traditions might be preserved in isolation. When the stone blight began to spread, they chose to lock away the afflicted and refused to seek outside help. But Lamit would not abide by this. She vowed to save her ailing kin, her sister among them, even if it meant violating dwarven law. With her newfound power, she returned and cured the sick, and for this she was banished by the Council of Elders. This came as no surprise, for she had made her peace with it long before, when she stood in that ancient ruin and called upon forgotten guardians to grant her forbidden knowledge. She knew then what the price would be. She had weighed her traditions and identity against the lives of those she loved, and made her choice, though it pained her terribly and in ways only a dwarf could understand. And Hydaelyn, it would seem. Through hardship and sacrifice was a new warrior of light forged, a healer that knew more than any the value of life, and would do anything to see it preserved, even in death. Her sacrifice would nearly complete the transformation. 'Twas fuel for the ritual to come, very soon then, very soon. For Ardbert and his comrades had stumbled upon evidence of the larger design, threads linking together the disparate troubles of the realm. A name spoken only in whispers, the Shadow Keeper. A singular force sowing chaos and discord throughout Norvrent to an unknown end. If the Warriors of Light truly wished to save their world, then they would need to confront this villain among villains. And at the end of their exhaustive search, at the end of their struggle, who do you think they found waiting to welcome them with open arms? The answer to that awaits us in Lakeland, our final destination. The villain yet walks among us, Foxy, unknown and unpunished. Go on ahead and wait for me at Laxon Loft. There are preparations to which I must first attend. What are you leading up to, lady? Strange that I've never been up here. Never had a reason, I suppose. Damn you, Silva! We were comrades in arms! Friends! That we were and that we are. Everything I said, everything I felt, it was all true. You mean the world to me. You're a bloody Shadow Keeper! What in the hells was this for? For you. For every one of you, to forge you into heroes worthy of her blessing that she might choose you as her champions. A ruthless mage consumed by the pursuit of power to save his friend no matter the cost, by his sacrifice a warrior born. A mournful hunter scarred by tragedy resolved never again to trust in others, by her sacrifice a warrior born. A disgraced knight who yearned to steal his heart in justice's name, by his sacrifice a warrior born. A troubled healer torn between tradition and love, by her sacrifice a warrior born. And their leader, an adventurer with a heart overflowing with love for his dearest comrades, who must now bring his axe to bear against his own. By his sacrifice, a warrior born. I am the villain you seek, the keeper of shadows from a world shrouded in dark. By our struggle will this world be shattered and its souls saved. Silva! Saw it all, did you? I thought you might. Mother's gift has a knack for showing us exactly what we need to see, if not what we want to, or when. You have the echo too, huh? They knew me as Silva, but my real name, it doesn't matter. Like you, I am not of this world. I crossed this rift and came to the first. My home, the 13th, fell to dark in a calamity that mirrored the one which nearly claimed this world. I was one of several heroes who failed to save it. Ah, and we know of another. Don't we? The boy Unakalai. I have glimpsed him in your memories. He was a friend. Like him, I heeded the words of the Ascians, and, that I might redress the balance, I chose to come here and hasten a rejoining of worlds. A shard subsumed by dark demands a mirror of blinding light. Primordial forces will strive to achieve equilibrium, but there was a solution, a single solution, I believed. Were a flood of light to consume this shard in its entirety, it would be of no use. The Ascians made it clear it must be brought to the brink, but no further. The task was difficult, but the plan simple. Souls predisposed to light, fledgling heroes in the making. I would bring together Ardbert and his comrades and groom them for a higher purpose. I would play the part of comrade and guide their course, all while laboring in secret to pit stronger and stronger enemies against them, until finally, once they were warriors of light, brave and true, I would reveal myself as a warrior of darkness and extinguish their radiance forever. Thus would this world be primed for a rejoining and the source for a calamity. The Ascians who called themselves Mitron and Logriff were confident it would succeed. And indeed, Ardbert and the others rose to the occasion, as I knew they would. It was not to be. I had misjudged Ardbert. His comrades before him had made the sacrifices in turn, and as their mirror I had grown stronger for it. Had he but embraced his role and struck me down, victory would have been mine. But Ardbert, dear Ardbert, would not forsake his heart. In the end, he chose mercy. He chose love, and I was undone. The rest you know. He sought out Mitron and Logriff and granted them what he refused me. They accomplished everything they set out to achieve, and then the flood came and washed it away. In the wake of my betrayal, I would look on from the shadows and reflect on my many sins as all fell to ruin, denied death then and now and perhaps ever after, as a fragment of my essence endures. But then, one day years ago, my fallen comrades rose again as the cardinal virtues. It coincided with the arrival of the first scions, I later realized, a defense against the forces being marshaled to undo my failure. I can but assume the Ascians planted the idea in Vothri's head. They were his creations after all, and with their graves in Yulmoran territory, it was doubtless a simple matter to have their bodies exhumed and prepared. Who am I to speak, you may think when I say this, but when I saw these abominations he had wrought in their image, I was filled with such despair, such anger. I cannot unwrite the past. My soul is stained with blackest sin, and I will not pretend that it can ever be otherwise. But this act, this I could not ignore. If the Ascians were going to such lengths, then surely others would cross the rift in due time. And so I hatched a plan. I would assume the guise of Ciela, and as her take up residence in the Crystarium, where I would take measures to bring together the most ambitious of adventurers, individuals driven by more than mere coin, virtue hunters. That way, when the enemy the Ascians feared more than any came to the first, the stage would be set. They would join in the hunters' quests, and together unmake Vothri's simulacra and lay their souls to rest once more. And so you did, Foxy. The virtues are no more. but the one ultimately responsible for their creation, the devil who set them on their doomed path, lingers still. You know all there is to know of the heroes who saved this world. The truth I kept hidden in the shadows is yours, and there are no more secrets to share. And so I ask you now to grant me that which Ardbert could not. Death. You still have a duty to others. No, don't do this. Don't you spare me like he did. How can you stand there and say I deserve to live? Knowing everything I did, the lives I destroyed, the chaos I wrought. The Wardens pale in comparison. Surely there is no greater villain than the Shadow Keeper. Which is why you must live to atone for your deeds, or death is no comfort to the living. Let's say the first one. That's a bit more on the nose. I should have expected a hero would say something like that. How does one even seek atonement? 'Tis an undiscovered country with no charts or stars to guide. How will I even know when I find it? It's not something that you know. It's something you feel. Perhaps I may yet find purpose in preserving my comrades' legacy, in helping others to understand the sacrifices that made them true heroes. For now, I shall return to the Crystarium and continue to assist Glynard, while spreading the forgotten tales of the Warriors of Light. You would have been good friends, you and Ardbert, in another life. You have no idea. Maybe you and I as well. You can still do good for this world. You have the will, and you certainly have the strength. Let's head back to the Crystarium. I tell you, I am not all accustomed to wearing armor any longer. Simply moving about in it is enough to tax my strength. And fighting? Ugh. Any one of Captain Lena's recruits could probably put me flat on my back. Fortunately, I needn't rely on my sword to spread the truth of my fallen comrades' deeds. Only words and the passage of time will see their legacy redeemed in the eyes of the people. Thank you for accompanying me on my journey of remembrance, Foxy. May your deeds ever be remembered and celebrated, as all heroes deserve. Of course. Alright. Now, that was the first of those quests that occurs after all of the role quests are done. There is another one, but we do not yet have access to it. We need to get through some patch quests first. So, we are actually going to wrap things up here. I know it's a little bit early. It's a little bit premature. We're only about an hour in, probably under an hour in after editing. But we do have to return to the main story quest, and I want to kind of leave all of that for its own video. And we will return to Ciela later in this series, so don't worry about that. There's still more story to tell. In the meantime, my name is Foxy Games. You all take care. Until the next one. Bye.